They were cast out by the galaxy, but Earth took them in. The Viorlians lived there, a peaceful species known for their intelligence, curiosity, and gentle ways. They had never been warriors or conquerors. Instead, they spent their time studying the stars, developing medicine, and creating art that celebrated life. Yet, despite their talents and achievements, the Galactic Council had turned its back on them. The Council was a powerful assembly of species from across the galaxy, governing who could safely travel and settle among the stars. The Viorlians had applied for membership years ago, hoping to join the larger galactic community. But their peaceful nature was seen as weakness. The Council dismissed them, labeling them unfit for interstellar membership. To make matters worse, they ordered that the Viorlian homeworld be abandoned, claiming it could not support a species with no strength to defend itself. When the news arrived, the Viorlians were shocked. Their leaders, calm and wise, called the citizens together. The grand plaza of Viorlia's capital glowed under the twin moons as thousands gathered in silence. High Chancellor Loren stepped forward, his pale blue skin shimmering in the soft light. "My friends," he said, his voice steady but heavy with sorrow, "we have been cast out by the galaxy. They do not value our ways, our knowledge, or our peace. Yet we must survive. We must find a new home." There were whispers among the crowd, fear and confusion mixed with anger. Many had lived all their lives believing the galaxy would one day recognize their worth. And now, suddenly, they were exiles. Despite the fear, the Viorlians did not panic. They had always been a resourceful people. Their engineers began preparing the fleet, converting cargo ships into self-sufficient vessels capable of traveling long distances. Farmers and builders worked tirelessly to create supply pods that could sustain life during the journey. Scientists calculated the safest routes through uncharted space, avoiding regions known for pirates and rogue AI patrols. Meanwhile, beyond Viorlia's solar system, another presence watched silently. On Earth, a blue planet in a small, quiet part of the galaxy, humanity had grown curious about the stars. For decades, they had sent probes and ships into deep space, observing distant worlds. Their sensors had detected the Viorlian fleet preparing for departure. Aboard the USS Horizon, a human exploration and peacekeeping vessel, Commander Elia's heart studied the readings. The ship hummed with quiet energy as it glided through the void. Hart was a man of experience, calm and decisive, with a deep sense of responsibility. "Commander," said Lieutenant Mara Klein, the ship's communications officer, her fingers flying over the controls, "we're receiving signals from the Viorlians. They're leaving their home system. Looks like they've been rejected by the Council." Hart's eyes narrowed. "Rejected? That's harsh. Show me the details." Mara displayed the holographic report, showing the Council's judgment and the Viorlians' projected flight path. The humans saw that the Viorlian fleet was small, with little in the way of defense. If they were intercepted by hostile forces or space pirates, they would stand little chance. Hart rubbed his chin. "We can't just watch them drift into danger. Prepare a transmission. I want to extend an offer of safe passage, but carefully. We don't want to scare them." Mara nodded. "Understood, Commander." For hours, the Horizon hovered in the shadows of a nearby asteroid belt, sending signals in a careful pattern, a language of numbers and light designed to be understood without revealing Earth's exact location. They waited, holding their breath, until finally a response came. The Viorlians were cautious, their messages polite but hesitant. They had never met humans, and the sudden appearance of a distant, unknown species offering help made them wary, yet the tone was curious. They asked questions about Earth, about humans, and about the strange, bright blue planet that had suddenly entered their sensors. Hart read the responses aloud to his crew. "They're scared, but they're also intrigued. They've never seen anyone like us before." Mara smiled slightly. "They'll listen if we're honest. They value truth above all else." Hart leaned back. "Then we give it to them. Tell them we offer sanctuary, supplies, and guidance. We are not here to control them, only to help." Meanwhile, aboard the Viorlian flagship, High Chancellor Loren studied the messages from Earth. He gathered his council. "This is unexpected," said Advisor Selen, a quiet but sharp-minded Viorlian. "The humans are offering aid, but can we trust them?" "The galaxy has not been kind to us." Loren's eyes were steady, filled with a calm determination. "We have little choice. We can remain isolated and risk destruction, or we can take a chance. Humanity may be our only hope." And so the decision was made. The Virealian fleet began plotting a course toward Earth. For the first time in their lives, they left their home with hope in their hearts, not fear. As the ships accelerated into hyperspace, the Virealians marveled at the beauty of the stars passing by. Long streaks of light, distant nebulae, and glittering planets flashed past their windows. Children pressed their faces against the transparent panels, pointing and laughing, fascinated by the endless sea of light. "It is beautiful," whispered Lyra, a young Virealian student, to her friend. "I never imagined space could look like this." Her friend nodded, but anxiety lingered. "Beautiful, yes, but it is also dangerous. We do not know what waits for us." On the horizon, humans monitored the Virealian journey. Hart and his team discussed the upcoming challenges. "They'll need support," said Mara. "Supplies, navigation assistance, and maybe guidance in social adaptation. They've never dealt with other species outside their council." Hart nodded. "Then that is what we give them. Humanity has always thrived when we help those in need. If the galaxy will cast out the innocent, we will step forward." As days passed, the Virealians adjusted to life aboard their fleet. Families shared small meals in common areas, scientists continued their research, and children played under the artificial skies of their ships. Though fear was present, hope carried them forward. Unexpectedly, a small pirate vessel appeared near their fleet, likely drawn by the sight of unprotected ships. The Virealians panicked at first, but humans aboard the horizon coordinated a subtle deterrent. Using small energy bursts and clever navigation, they created the illusion of a larger, more formidable fleet, causing the pirate vessel to retreat. The Virealians watched, amazed. "They saved us," said one elder. "We have never seen such cunning, and yet no violence." "They protect but do not harm unnecessarily." Hart observed the fleet through his own screens. "That's humanity," he said quietly. "We are fighters, yes, but we fight for those who cannot protect themselves, not for power. Maybe that is what sets us apart in this galaxy." As hyperspace trails faded into the distance, the story of the cast-out species had only begun. Across millions of light years, a bond was forming between humans and Virealians, a bond built on trust, hope, and the shared belief that survival was not just about strength, but also about compassion and ingenuity. For the Virealians, Earth represented more than safety. It was a chance for a fresh start, a place where their peaceful ways could be valued rather than punished. And for humanity, it was an opportunity to show the galaxy the true power of courage, kindness, and intelligence combined. And so, in the dark, endless space, two species, one small and gentle, the other bold and determined, began a journey together, one that would not only test their limits but also prove that even the cast-out could find a home, and that even a quiet blue planet could shine brightly. In the galaxy, the Virealian fleet moved steadily through the endless darkness of space, guided by careful calculations and the quiet determination of their people. Though their journey was long and uncertain, the thought of Earth kept their spirits alive. Many aboard the ships had never seen another species outside the Galactic Council, and the idea of humans, so different from anything they had known, was both exciting and frightening. On the USS Horizon, Commander Elias Hart and his crew prepared for the first true meeting with the Virealians. Communication had already begun through signals and coded messages, but no one had seen the aliens in person yet. Hart stood in the observation deck, looking at the approaching fleet. The Virealian ships were sleek and shimmering, like strands of silver drifting in the void. "They are beautiful," murmured Lieutenant Mara Klein, her eyes reflecting the soft glow of the alien vessels. "So different from us, but elegant," Hart nodded. "Yes, and gentle, that's what stands out most. Their fleet isn't built for war, it's built for life." The first real challenge was establishing a shared language. Humans and Virealians had never interacted before, and their methods of communication were almost incompatible. While the humans relied on sound and symbols, the Virealians used a combination of light pulses and subtle vibrations. Mara and her team worked tirelessly to translate and simplify the exchange, creating a bridge between the two species. After hours of patient effort, a small group of Virealians agreed to a direct meeting aboard the Horizon. The human crew prepared a secure landing area in one of the ship's shuttle bays, ensuring it was safe and welcoming. When the Virealians arrived, Hart and his officers were struck by their appearance. Their skin shimmered with faint hues of blue and silver, reflecting the light in gentle patterns. Their eyes were large, expressive, and filled with a calm intelligence. They moved gracefully as if every step had purpose, but none was hurried. High Chancellor Loren stepped forward first, his voice calm but cautious. "We are grateful for your offer, yet we must ask, why? Why would you help those the galaxy has rejected?" Hart paused, considering his words carefully. "Because it is the right thing to do. No species deserves to be abandoned for their nature. You value life, knowledge, and peace. These are qualities we respect. We want to give you a chance to continue thriving." Lauren studied him for a long moment, then nodded slightly. "Your honesty is unusual. Most of the galaxy acts for power or fear. We have not seen such openness." Mara added, "We understand your caution. Trust must be earned, not demanded. We hope that in time we can prove our intentions through actions, not just words." For the next few hours, the humans and Virelians exchanged knowledge. The Virelians spoke of their homeworld, describing fields that glowed under twin moons, rivers that sang when the wind passed, and cities built in harmony with nature. They shared their medical techniques, their art, and their understanding of the stars. Humans, in turn, showed the aliens their own achievements. How Earth's nations had worked together to send ships into deep space, how they had explored distant planets and built habitats on moons and asteroids. The Virelians were fascinated by the human ability to adapt to challenges and by their resourcefulness. "This is remarkable," whispered Lyra, a young Virelian scientist. "They build and learn without destroying, and they think in ways we never imagined." One of the human engineers, Jace Ortega, smiled. "That's what we do. We face problems, we find solutions. Sometimes the galaxy doesn't understand it, but it works." Despite the excitement, there were moments of tension. The Virelians were naturally cautious and feared that humans might eventually abandon or betray them. Humans, too, worried about the risks of interacting with a species they barely knew. But every question answered, every act of kindness, strengthened the fragile bond. During this time, small human teams began assisting the Virelians in adapting their fleet for the long journey to Earth. Engineers worked side by side with Virelian technicians, integrating Earth technology into the ships, upgrading life support systems, and reinforcing navigation protocols. The collaboration was slow but steady, with both species learning from one another. One day, while repairing an energy core aboard a Virelian transport, Jace glanced at his colleague, Tara Singh, a human engineer. "You know, they're incredible. Look at the way they approach problems, methodical, precise. It's inspiring." Tara nodded. "Yes. And they teach us patience, too. We rush, we overthink. They remind us to be deliberate. It's refreshing." Meanwhile, children aboard both fleets began forming friendships. Despite differences in language and appearance, curiosity and playfulness bridged the gap. They shared games, stories, and laughter, a small but powerful sign that the two species could coexist. One evening, Commander Hart observed the activity from the Horizon's observation deck. He watched a group of Virelian children floating in a zero-gravity play area, spinning and laughing as human children joined in. The sight brought a rare smile to his face. "Look at them," Mara said softly beside him. "It's more than just survival. They're learning trust, friendship, hope." Hart nodded. "Yes, and that's what makes all this worthwhile. If they can survive the galaxy's cruelty and find hope here, maybe humanity can teach the galaxy a lesson about what strength truly means." As the days passed, the Virelians grew more confident. They trusted the humans enough to allow small joint missions, scanning nearby star systems, gathering resources, and practicing emergency maneuvers. Each success strengthened their faith in Earth's offer. Yet not everything was smooth. Some members of the Virelian Council still feared that humans might betray them. They debated among themselves, questioning whether the offer was genuine or a clever trick. High Chancellor Loren calmed these fears, reminding them of the humans' consistent actions, their patience, and their willingness to risk their own safety for the Virelians' sake. One night, Loren walked along the observation deck with Lyra. The stars stretched infinitely in every direction, a sea of light that both frightened and fascinated them. "Do you think they are truly like us?" Lyra asked softly. Loren considered her question. "In some ways, yes, they are different yet similar. They value life. They protect the weak. They see beyond fear and power. These are qualities we share. That is why we can trust them if we choose." Lyra nodded, a small smile on her face. "I hope they can teach us more." I want to see a world where we are not rejected, a world where we can live freely. Lauren's expression grew solemn but determined. Then we will make that world together, with them not alone. Back on the horizon, Hart reviewed the fleet's progress. The Viorlians had integrated Earth technology into their ships, and their morale had improved. They were learning, adapting, and forming bonds with the humans. We are ready to guide them to Earth, Hart said to his officers. But the galaxy is watching. Some will not like our actions. We must prepare for challenges ahead. Mara smiled. We've faced challenges before, Commander. Together we can handle whatever comes next. We've already proven that compassion and cooperation are stronger than fear and prejudice. As the Horizon and the Viorlian fleet continued their journey, the first true step toward a shared future was complete. Trust had been established, and hope was alive. Both species began to understand that while the galaxy could be harsh and unjust, strength was not only measured in weapons or armies. It was also measured in courage, wisdom, and the ability to protect and nurture life. And so the Viorlians, once cast out by the galaxy, moved steadily toward Earth, not as helpless exiles, but as curious, hopeful travelers, guided by humanity's hand and their own resilient hearts. They were beginning a journey that would test their courage, challenge their understanding, and ultimately reveal the extraordinary power of two very different species working together toward a common dream. Survival, friendship, and a new home among the stars. The Viorlian fleet glided through the final stretch of deep space, leaving the cold darkness behind. Ahead lay a blue and green world unlike anything they had ever seen, a world of oceans, forests, mountains, and bustling cities. Earth was alive in a way that no holographic image or distant sensor had ever truly captured. On the USS Horizon, Commander Elias Hart and his crew guided the Viorlians carefully toward Earth's orbit. From their viewports, the Viorlians stared in awe at the planet's beauty. Its oceans shimmered under the sun, and clouds moved gracefully across the sky. Lights dotted the continents, evidence of countless civilizations working, living, and dreaming. Lyra, the young Viorlian scientist, pressed her hand against the observation panel. "It is breathtaking," she whispered. "I have never imagined a world like this. It feels alive." High Chancellor Loren nodded, though his expression remained solemn. "Yes, but we must remember beauty does not guarantee safety. We are entering a world that is new to us. We must be cautious, respectful, and patient." Earth's surface, meanwhile, was abuzz with anticipation. News of the incoming Viorlian fleet had spread rapidly. Governments, scientists, and citizens watched with a mixture of curiosity and concern. Many wondered who these visitors were, what they wanted, and whether they could be trusted. Human diplomats, led by Commander Hart, prepared a series of welcoming protocols. Spaceports were secured, communication channels were open, and teams were ready to provide medical, logistical, and cultural support. Earth's leaders debated the possible consequences, how the rest of the galaxy might react, and whether their actions would invite scrutiny or hostility. Yet, despite the concerns, the decision was unanimous. The Viorlians would be welcomed. This was a chance to show the galaxy a new way of interaction, one based on trust, compassion, and cooperation. The first Viorlian ships entered Earth's orbit slowly, their movements careful and deliberate. Sensors scanned for gravitational shifts, atmospheric density, and orbital traffic. Humans monitored every calculation, ensuring that the alien fleet would not encounter unexpected hazards. From a distance, people on Earth's surface could see streaks of light as the Viorlian ships descended. Crowds gathered in cities and rural areas, some with cameras, some with binoculars, and some simply staring in silent wonder. Children pointed, adults whispered, and news networks broadcast the event live across continents. The Viorlians, too, felt a mix of awe and nervousness. They had traveled for weeks, guided by humans, toward this strange world. Its size, complexity, and activity were intimidating. Yet the humans' careful guidance gave them confidence. "Do you think they will accept us?" asked Lyra, her voice trembling slightly. "They already have," Loren replied. "Acceptance is not about ceremony or words, it is about actions. Humans have shown patience, understanding, and courage. They have risked themselves to protect us. That is acceptance." When the fleet reached the designated orbit, shuttles were deployed to guide the ships to temporary docking stations. Humans and Viorlians worked side by side to manage the landing. Engineers monitored systems, ensuring that the alien ships were compatible with Earth's orbital technology. On the surface, Earth's people waited with anticipation. The first Virelian shuttle descended slowly, its hull reflecting the light of the sun. When it landed gently, humans and Virelians stepped out to meet each other for the first time on solid ground. The moment was quiet at first. Humans studied the Virelians carefully, noting their graceful movements, their unusual features, and their calm expressions. The Virelians, in turn, observed the humans with curiosity, noticing the diversity of appearances, clothing, and tools. Commander Hart stepped forward, extending his hand in a universal gesture of peace. High Chancellor Lauren mirrored the gesture, their hands hovering briefly before shaking. The simplicity of the act bridged worlds, a symbol of trust and mutual respect. From there, small groups of humans guided Virelians to their temporary habitats. These were advanced structures built to accommodate both species, spacious, well-lit, and designed to support life comfortably. Earth's engineers had worked quickly to ensure the Virelians' needs were met, from gravity adjustments to dietary provisions. Inside the habitats, Virelians explored with wide eyes. They marveled at the technology, noting similarities to their own designs and improvements they had never imagined. Children ran through open spaces, laughing as humans joined in games and storytelling. "This world is kind," said Lyra softly. "It has challenges, yes, but also warmth. We were right to trust them." The adults, however, were more cautious. Discussions continued about how to integrate Virelian knowledge with Earth systems. Scientists collaborated on medical technology, environmental studies, and energy solutions. Virelian insight brought new ideas, especially in sustainable living and efficient resource management. Commander Hart observed these collaborations with satisfaction. "Look at them," he said to Mara. "They are learning from us and we are learning from them. That is the true value of first contact. Not conquest, not diplomacy for power, but shared knowledge." Meanwhile, news of the Virelian arrival reached the Galactic Council. Reactions varied. Some council members were outraged that humans had defied the rejection of the Virelians, while others were intrigued by Earth's courage and ingenuity. Back on Earth, challenges arose. Cultural misunderstandings, language barriers, and unfamiliar customs required careful attention. Mara and her team worked tirelessly to mediate, translating not just words but intentions, emotions, and subtle gestures. Lyra became an ambassador of sorts among the young humans and Virelians. She taught Earth children simple Virelian phrases, shared stories of her homeworld, and encouraged curiosity and empathy. In return, she learned human games, music, and even jokes, which often made her laugh with surprise. The older Virelians focused on more serious matters. High Chancellor Lauren met with Earth's leaders to discuss long-term plans, including education, healthcare, and preparation for possible threats from the galaxy. "We must remain vigilant," Lauren said. "Not all will welcome our survival." "Some may see this as a challenge or a provocation." Commander Hart nodded. "We know the risks, but we also know that turning away from those in need is not an option. If the galaxy punishes us, we will face it together, with the Virelians and with the truth of our actions." Despite the challenges, bonds grew quickly. Humans and Virelians began to share knowledge in ways neither species had expected. Virelian engineers suggested improvements to Earth's energy grids. Human doctors collaborated with Virelian medical specialists, combining techniques to treat illnesses more effectively. Together, they explored environmental solutions, learning how to restore damaged ecosystems and protect endangered species. Even ordinary moments became meaningful. Families shared meals, children played, and communities began to form. Virelians learned human habits, and humans adapted to the peaceful, methodical ways of the Virelians. Every small interaction strengthened trust and understanding. One day, Lyra walked with Jace Ordega through a small garden designed for both species. Flowers from Earth and Virelia grew side by side, their colors bright and vivid. "Look at this," Lyra said, pointing to a cluster of glowing plants. "It is beautiful and it thrives because we nurture it together," Jace smiled. "Yes, that's how it should be. Cooperation, care, and respect. That's how we survive, whether it's plants, people, or planets." Lauren, observing from a distance, nodded in agreement. "This is what a new beginning looks like. Not just survival, but growth, understanding, and unity." As the days turned into weeks, Earth adjusted to the Violian presence. Citizens grew curious, fascinated, and sometimes cautious, but respect and empathy prevailed. Schools introduced lessons about the Violians, scientists published joint studies, and media shared stories of friendship and collaboration. The Violians, once cast out by the galaxy, now walked on solid ground with hope in their hearts. They had a chance to live, learn, and contribute to a world that valued life, knowledge, and peace. And humanity, in welcoming them, had shown that strength was not only measured in power or weapons, but in courage, wisdom, and the choice to act with compassion. Above the cities, the Violian ships remained in orbit, a silent promise of vigilance and preparedness. Though Earth offered safety, the galaxy beyond was vast, unpredictable, and often harsh. Together, humans and Violians prepared for whatever challenges might come, knowing that their unity was their greatest strength. And so, the Violians' journey reached a milestone, their arrival on Earth. It was more than a landing. It was a bridge between worlds, a proof that even the cast-out could find refuge, and a beginning of a story that would test courage, ingenuity, and the power of cooperation. For the first time in their lives, the Violians felt truly at home, not just in a physical sense, but in the hope, trust, and friendship that surrounded them. The journey had only just begun, but the path forward was clear. Together, humans and Violians would face the galaxy, not with fear, but with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing they were stronger together than apart. Life on Earth had begun to settle into a new rhythm. Violian children played alongside human children in gardens and open spaces. Scientists collaborated on advanced energy systems, while doctors shared knowledge of medical treatments. For the first time, both species felt a genuine sense of hope and belonging. Yet beyond the calm and beauty of Earth, the galaxy watched. Not everyone welcomed the presence of the Violians. The Galactic Council, still smarting from the humans' defiance, began to send warnings. Minor patrols had been dispatched at first, but soon intelligence reports indicated that a larger enforcer fleet was on its way, a fleet powerful, disciplined, and uncompromising. On the USS Horizon, Commander Elia's heart studied the readings. The data showed dozens of warships moving toward Earth at high speed, their purpose clear: to punish the Violians for leaving their assigned sector. "They're coming," said Lieutenant Mara Klein, her fingers flying over the holographic controls. "A full fleet." "They won't negotiate." Hart's expression was serious but calm. "We knew this could happen. Prepare our defenses, alert Earth's leaders, and start evacuation protocols if needed. But our priority is to protect the Violians and show them what humanity can do when it stands together." On Earth, High Chancellor Lauren met with Hart and Earth's leaders. The Violians had never faced such aggression, and fear ran through their council. "They will not stop at words," Lauren said, his voice steady despite the tension. "They will strike, and we must be ready. Our people are not warriors, but we will fight to survive." Hart placed a reassuring hand on Lauren's shoulder. "You are not alone. We will fight with you. And remember, strength is not only measured by weapons, but by courage, ingenuity, and the willingness to protect life." Preparations began immediately. Humans and Violians worked together to create defensive systems. Earth's satellites were reprogrammed to provide early warnings. Cities coordinated emergency protocols. Scientists and engineers designed energy shields, camouflage systems, and rapid response fleets using a combination of human technology and Violian innovation. Even the children contributed in small ways. They delivered messages, mapped areas for safe zones, and helped organize supplies. Their energy and optimism reminded everyone why protecting this planet and its new residents was worth every effort. Days passed and the Enforcer fleet approached. From Earth's orbit, it was an intimidating sight: dozens of massive warships, each bristling with weapons, engines glowing with power. Their intent was clear: force submission, punish the Violians, and send a message to any who might consider defiance. Hart and Lauren stood together on the Horizon's observation deck, studying the enemy fleet. "They are strong," Lauren said quietly, "but they are predictable. They rely on fear and power. We have something they do not: creativity and trust." Hart nodded. "Exactly. We'll use their assumptions against them. They think we are weak because we are peaceful. That is our advantage." The first encounter came near the outer edge of Earth's orbit. Smaller Enforcer ships moved quickly, attempting to block escape routes and isolate the Violian fleet. but humans had prepared clever defenses. Using Earth's orbital terrain, energy shields, and strategic maneuvers, they created illusions of larger fleets, drawing the enemy into traps. The Viorlians watched in awe as humans and their own allies executed complex strategies with precision and calm. "They are brilliant," whispered Lyra. "They fight without cruelty, without chaos, they use their minds." Jace Ortega, guiding a Viorlian energy ship alongside a human vessel, smiled. "That's the key, brains over brawn. We protect life, we confuse the enemy, and we strike only when necessary." Despite the planning, the enforcers pressed on. A few human and Viorlian ships were damaged, but no lives were lost. Their coordinated efforts, combining speed, strategy, and environmental knowledge, kept the enemy at bay. On the surface, civilians watched with mixed emotions. The sky lit up with the energy of distant battles, yet Earth's forces held firm. The combination of human ingenuity and Viorlian technology created defenses unlike anything the enemy had ever seen. During one critical moment, a large enforcer ship attempted to break through the Earth's main shield. Hart commanded a daring maneuver, guiding smaller ships to create a reflective energy field that deflected the enemy's attacks. Viorlian engineers assisted, using their knowledge of energy distribution to strengthen the shield. The enemy ship faltered, unable to penetrate the defenses. It retreated in confusion, showing the first cracks in the seemingly unstoppable enforcer fleet. Back on the horizon, Hart addressed his crew and the Viorlian Council. "This is what humanity and cooperation can do," he said firmly. "They may be powerful, but we have what they lack: imagination, adaptability, and the courage to protect the innocent. Today we show the galaxy that strength is more than weapons." Lauren nodded. "Our people are learning not just to survive, but to thrive. Your courage teaches us that even those who are peaceful can face the strongest foes and prevail." As the battles continued, the Viorlians grew more confident. They contributed actively, guiding energy flows, improving ship defenses, and coordinating movements. Children and adults alike found ways to help, understanding that every small action contributed to the safety of all. Over several days, the Enforcer fleet launched multiple attacks, each more intense than the last. But humans and Viorlians remained united. The enemy was frustrated and unprepared for the resilience and creativity of this alliance. Their rigid strategies, based on fear and intimidation, were repeatedly outsmarted. One of the most critical moments came when an Enforcer ship attempted to disable Earth's satellites, which controlled the planet's shield. Hart led a daring countermission, guiding a combination of human and Viorlian ships to intercept the enemy. Using clever decoys and precise timing, they prevented the attack, protecting the planet and turning the tide of the conflict. Lyra, observing from her ship, whispered to a human companion, "I never imagined defense could be so careful and clever. Every move is calculated, but also humane." "Yes," the human replied. "That's how we fight, not for destruction, but to protect life. That's our strength." After days of battle, the Enforcer fleet, unable to break Earth's defenses, began to retreat. Reports came in from other regions. The enemy was confused, frustrated, and unable to predict the human strategies. The combination of courage, ingenuity, and collaboration had turned the seemingly impossible into a victory. On Earth, celebrations were quiet but heartfelt. Civilians emerged from shelters, children ran to open spaces, and scientists and engineers took pride in the defenses they had helped create. The Viorlians, once cast out and fearful, now stood proudly among their new allies. Lauren addressed the humans in a formal gathering aboard the Horizon. "Today we faced the galaxy's wrath and survived," he said. "We were powerless alone, but together we prevailed. Humans, you have shown us courage, wisdom, and compassion beyond anything we expected. You have proven that even peaceful beings can be strong. For that, we are forever grateful." Hart smiled, humbled by the words. "You have also proven your strength. Your knowledge, patience, and trust made this victory possible. The galaxy may judge by power, but we judge by what truly matters: unity, understanding, and the willingness to protect life." As Com returned to Earth's orbit, both species began repairs, improvements, and reflections. Lessons had been learned about strategy, cooperation, and the importance of courage in the face of overwhelming odds. Humans and Viorlians understood that the galaxy was vast and often unforgiving, but together they could face any challenge. In the quiet moments after battle, children played among repaired gardens, scientists continued experiments, and engineers worked to strengthen defenses further. Despite the threat from the galaxy, life continued. Hope and trust had been reinforced, and the bond between humans and Violians grew stronger than ever. Lauren and Hart stood together on the Horizon's observation deck, watching the stars. "The galaxy will test us again," Lauren said. Hart nodded. "And we will be ready. Not just because we are strong, but because we have learned the greatest strength of all: courage, unity, and compassion." Lyra, standing nearby, looked at the horizon. "I believe now that we can survive anywhere. With humans beside us, we are not just exiles. We are a family." Hart smiled. "Exactly, and families protect each other no matter the challenge. Today we proved that." And so Earth became more than a refuge. It became a symbol, not just of survival, but of hope, courage, and the extraordinary power of two species working together. The Violians had been cast out by the galaxy, yet through unity, ingenuity, and the strength of the human spirit, they had found not only safety but also respect, trust, and the promise of a brighter future. The battle was over, but the journey was far from finished. Challenges would come, and the galaxy would continue to test them. Yet now, humans and Violians faced the future together, confident that cooperation, intelligence, and compassion would always triumph over fear and cruelty. And in that quiet moment, as stars shimmered above Earth, both species understood that this was only the beginning of a remarkable story. A story of survival, friendship, and the extraordinary power of hope. The galaxy had watched, and now it was listening. Earth had faced the enforcers of the Galactic Council, and had not only survived, but had protected the Violians with courage, intelligence, and compassion. The news traveled quickly across star systems. Humans and Violians had proven that strength could be measured in unity, creativity, and moral courage, not just weapons. On Earth, life began to settle into a new normal. The Violians were no longer exiles. They were residents, partners, and friends. Children played freely with human children, sharing games, stories, and laughter. Families explored the planet together, and new bonds were formed every day. High Chancellor Lauren walked through one of the habitats with Commander Elia's Hart. The corridors were filled with activity: engineers, scientists, and children moving about, exchanging ideas and learning from one another. "Look at them," Lauren said, his voice calm but filled with pride. "They adapt so quickly. They are resilient, patient, and curious. I see now why humans are respected across your planet." Hart nodded. "And they remind us to be patient too. They think carefully, act deliberately, and value life in every choice they make. We've learned as much from them as they have from us." Meanwhile, Earth scientists and the Violian engineers worked on long-term projects. They explored ways to integrate Violian technology into Earth's infrastructure, from clean energy systems to medical advancements. Violians suggested improvements to Earth's environmental programs, teaching humans how to better protect ecosystems and restore damaged landscapes. Lyra, now more confident and adventurous, led a group of young Violians and humans in a botanical project. Together, they cultivated plants from Violia and Earth side by side, studying their growth patterns and creating hybrid gardens. The children laughed, learned, and discovered that even in science, friendship made the work more enjoyable. "This is amazing," Lyra said, examining a plant that glowed faintly under the habitat's lights. "It thrives because of both worlds. We are learning from them, and they are learning from us." Jace Ortega, a human engineer, smiled. "Exactly. Cooperation brings strength. Two worlds working together can accomplish what neither could alone." Beyond Earth, the Galactic Council continued to observe. Many council members were still hesitant, while others were impressed by humanity's courage. Some openly criticized Earth for defying their authority, but others began to see the value of compassion and unity. The Violian story was becoming a lesson for the galaxy, proof that even peaceful and unarmed species could survive and thrive when aided by others who valued life over power. Back on Earth, discussions turned to diplomacy. Earth's leaders and the Violians met with council representatives via long-distance communication. The goal was clear: ensure peace, maintain Earth's sovereignty, and integrate Violians into the galactic community under new terms. High Chancellor Lauren addressed the council. "We were cast out because we were peaceful, because we valued life over conquest. Humanity gave us sanctuary, protection, and hope. Together, we have shown that unity is stronger than power alone. We ask not for revenge, but for acknowledgement and the chance to participate in the galaxy as equals. There was silence on the other end of the line. Then a council representative spoke. You have proven resilience, ingenuity, and cooperation. Humanity's actions have forced us to reconsider. Perhaps strength is not only in force, but in the values you demonstrate. The decision was made. The Violins were officially accepted into the galactic community, not as subordinates, but as full members under a new agreement that respected their peaceful nature. Earth, too, was recognized for its courage and moral clarity. On the surface of Earth, celebrations were held, though quietly. Humans and Violins gathered together to mark the achievement not just as a diplomatic victory, but as a triumph of friendship, trust, and shared values. Lauren stood before a crowd of both humans and Violins. This is more than recognition, he said. It is proof that together we can face challenges no one could overcome alone. Today, we celebrate not only survival, but understanding, respect, and hope. Commander Hart joined him. We've learned that courage is not just in facing danger, but in choosing to help others when it is difficult. The galaxy may be harsh, but compassion and ingenuity can shine brighter than any weapon. Children ran past them, waving small flags representing Earth and Violia. Their laughter echoed in the habitats, a reminder of the joy and potential of a united future. Scientists returned to their work, but their projects now carried a deeper purpose. They were not just studying, inventing, or improving technology. They were building a foundation for a society where humans and Violians could thrive together, sharing knowledge, culture, and friendship. Lyra and her friends created a cultural exchange program. Human children learned Violian music, language, and art, while Violian children learned human history, games, and science. They performed small concerts, exhibitions, and demonstrations, fostering respect and understanding between the two species. Meanwhile, Earth's leaders worked to strengthen planetary defenses, not to wage war, but to ensure safety. Violian energy systems and human technology were combined to create advanced shields, faster communication networks, and enhanced emergency response capabilities. Earth became a model of innovation, unity, and preparedness. In the quiet moments, Lauren often walked with Hart on observation decks looking out at the stars. The galaxy is still vast and unpredictable, Lauren said, but now we know we are not powerless. Together we can face what comes, Hart nodded. Exactly. Courage, intelligence, and compassion, these are our weapons, and they are stronger than anything the galaxy can throw at us. Even as peace settled over Earth, the story of the Violians and humans became a symbol across the stars. Other species began to question old prejudices, reconsidering what strength truly meant. Earth, once a small and quiet planet, became a beacon of hope, innovation, and cooperation. Back on Earth, children played, families laughed, and scientists continued to explore new ideas. The Violians built homes, schools, and gardens alongside humans, each project a testament to collaboration and shared vision. Lyra stood with Jace, watching a garden of hybrid plants. "Look at this," she said softly. "It represents more than growth. It is a symbol of what we can achieve together." Jace smiled. "Yes, life thrives when we nurture it together. That is our greatest achievement." High Chancellor Lauren addressed a joint assembly of humans and Violians. "We were cast out by the galaxy," he said, "but we found a home here among those who value life, knowledge, and friendship. Today, we are not just survivors. We are partners, builders, and explorers of the future." Hart raised his voice so all could hear. "The galaxy may judge by power, but we judge by actions. By courage, by wisdom, by compassion. Together, humans and Violians have shown what is possible. Together, we can face the unknown and create a future filled with hope." Above the cities, Violian ships glimmered in orbit, silent guardians of a planet that had become a home. Earth's satellites hummed with energy, ready to protect and assist, guided by the ingenuity and cooperation of both species. And as the sun rose over forests, oceans, and cities, humans and Violians alike understood that this was more than a conclusion. It was a beginning. A beginning of friendship, knowledge, exploration, and unity that could reshape the galaxy's understanding of strength, courage, and compassion. No longer cast out, the Violians had found a home. And Earth, once small and overlooked, had become a beacon, a place where hope thrived, life was cherished, and the extraordinary potential of two species working together had been fully realized. In the quiet moments, Lyra reflected on the journey. "We were afraid, rejected, and lost," she said. "But now we are alive, safe, and respected. We are part of something greater." Hart smiled, looking at the stars. "Yes, and this is only the start. The galaxy is vast, but with courage, unity, and compassion, we can face anything. This is our new beginning." And so, under the light of a welcoming sun, humans and Virealians stepped forward together, ready to explore, learn, and thrive in a galaxy that had once cast them out, but now had no choice but to notice their strength, the strength of friendship, courage, and hope.